BBC Radio Gloucestershire, 11:15. Now, we've become pretty used to taking our own bags to the supermarkets, but how much do we want to use refillable containers for things like cereals, pasta, and even wine? There's been a bit of it going on already with independent stores and supermarkets doing it with meat and fish, but now one of the main supermarket chains, Waitrose, is trialling a wider service in one of its shops. So is this something we're likely to see much more of, and will it be popular with customers? Let's speak to Kate Hardcastle, who's a retail analyst. Kate, morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Morning. Now, when it comes to something like this, are we a little slow on the uptake in this country? Because I get the sense this has been done on quite a significant scale abroad for quite some time.
It really has, yeah. I do work out in the States quite regularly, and in a lot of particularly the indies, the food markets, but some of the supermarkets as well, it's absolutely normal for you to refill your honey jar with your honey, take in your perhaps your bath foam and get that topped up, as well as there just be generally much less packaging. You know, you take your cereals home out of a refillable container, either in a paper bag, which is completely recyclable with no branding on it whatsoever, or you bring a container in from home. So the practice is up and working, which is why, although I absolutely know there will be teething problems with this, I do have faith in there being a step change in the way that we buy.
Well, it's really interesting because, I mean, that's almost prompted my next question here. What makes you think that Waitrose think this is a good idea to sort of dip their toe in the water here?
Well, they're not the only supermarket to make these types of changes. They're just the first to actually make it happen. So Tesco have also announced they're going to make some big changes. And everyone's looking at how they can be more environmentally and ethically supportive of consumers who want that change. But the big thing for me, having been a consumer person for many, many years, is you have to change habits with something that makes an impact. And the reason that the bag charge has been, the bag changes, the amount of shopping bags that we use in the UK has dropped significantly, is because of the charge. That forces you to think about it. What Waitrose is suggesting is it's potentially going to be a cost saving for consumers. And the minute that happens, then definitely consumers are going to be wanting that. They're going to want to have all the hassle taken away of having to recycle boxes at home and pack things down and have an overflowing recycling bin. But they're certainly going to want to see cost savings in their shopping each week. That's what they're looking for. So I think that's going to be the crunch that makes a difference.
You talked about teething problems. I mean, there's inevitably going to be the, I've not brought it with me. I want some of that, but I haven't got it, etc., etc. I mean, that's kind of the stuff that needs to be catered for. It's like when you arrive at the supermarket and your bags are in your other half's car. You know, you've got to come up with, there's got to be a backup plan, effectively.
Absolutely. And, you know, we can hear from the report that there's a lot of things in place. They've thought about this. And I think this is perhaps why it takes so long for a retailer to make change. I'm not sticking up for them. I think a lot of these things should have been done a lot sooner. But sometimes it's easier to carry on the way the consumers want things presented in store. They like things looking nice. They buy fruit because it looks pretty. So we know that consumer change and habit is something that's quite difficult to do. They've had to create lots of different ways in when those consumers forget the containers, how have they got the paper bag ready, or how have they got process in place, and how do you scan barcodes? It will have been something that's been work in progress for a long time.
You talked about how for the consumer, there's likely to be really pushed and advertised that this is going to save you a bob or two. But let's be honest, the supermarkets aren't daft. There's got to be something in it for them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to have a much leaner, quicker system. If you've not got to have all of those boxes facing upwards, it's a lot of people who actually present those shelves and stack those shelves and make them look nice every week. But I think it goes deeper than that as well. If you start taking packaging out, a lot of packaging is the huge branded offer. And we know that the success of a lot of supermarkets has been on own brand products for quite a while. So I think actually it will start us to question a lot of the branded products we buy versus the supermarket's own. And that could be an opportunity for them too.
Lovely. Good to talk to you this morning, Kate. Thank you very much. Kate Hardcastle, retail analyst, speaking with us here on BBC Radio Gloucestershire this